Leading off our discussion tonight is Chrystia Freeland, who previously served as the Deputy Prime Minister of Canada and the Minister of Finance of Canada. She is also a longtime journalist. Chrystia, welcome back to the show. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Great to be with you, Ellie.
You've been at these tables. You've been at these summits. You've been at these meetings. You understand the importance of it. I think this was probably supposed to be the most important summit of Donald Trump's entire tenure. Give us your take on what happened.
I think an acronym you could use to summarize not just this meeting, but everything leading up to it is Make China Great Again. When you look at the impact of the Trump presidency, the real winner has been China. And the loser has been America's allies and America itself. And what's really extraordinary about it, Ali, is President Trump was elected beginning in 2016 in large part because he was really one of the first U.S. leaders who recognized the way that China's entry to the WTO was contributing to the hollowing out of the U.S. middle class. One of his promises to American Rust Belt workers was he was going to fix it. But instead, what we see he's doing is bullying reporters, beating up on America's closest friends and allies, and frankly, seeming cowed by China.
Tell me about the Taiwan thing. How big a deal is it? There's two. The one is a practical issue, and that is that the U.S. has maintained a very heavy naval presence and military presence in Asia, for a lot of reasons, but also in part because we have an agreement that if China were to invade Taiwan, the United States has some nuanced commitment to defend Taiwan. But the military is not there right now. They're in the Middle East.
That is 100% the case, and China knows it. China knows that with every day of the Trump presidency, the U.S. is getting weaker. The U.S. is distracted by a war of choice, which is tying up the U.S. military, which is raising prices at home and weakening the president because of that, which has divided the United States from its allies. And what to me is really concerning about the president's reticence on Taiwan is I think that kind of ambiguity, that perception that surely Beijing has right now, that they can manipulate President Trump, I think it makes the world a more dangerous place. Because if you are in Beijing right now, you're thinking, this is a guy we can manipulate. And you may be thinking that means it would be smart for us to do something before 2028. And that would be terrible for Taiwan and terrible for the world.
So that's interesting. Before 2028. So that brings me to my next question. Donald Trump has broken a lot of major organizations or weakened organizations. Some of them are American organizations. Some of them are things like NATO. When there's a different president who doesn't do that, who doesn't want to break alliances and break international organizations, can America get right back to the table? Can they pull up their chair and say, we're back and things are going back to the way they used to be? Or have our allies, including Canada, decided that the future has to look different?
Ellie, I really hope that America can mend its relationship with its allies. And I hope that because I think all of us, the world's democracies, will be a lot stronger if the U.S. is on team democracy. And I also think, Canadians, Europeans, we know America is bigger than one man, even if that one man is the president. And by the way, we like America. We admire America and Americans. So I like to think there is a way back, but it's getting harder and harder every day.
Help me understand how this goes, because obviously a country like Canada and other European countries, they do have to trade with China. We all trade with China. We trade a lot with China. But as a result of the difficulties with America since the second Trump presidency, Canada, for instance, has increased its level of trade and its intent to do more with China. And that makes some Canadians uncomfortable. It makes Americans uncomfortable. But it's a fact of life that if you want to confront China, you've got to have a sort of an allied approach to this thing. If you don't, countries are going to start going it alone.
Ali, you are 100% correct. And, the irony of the situation is America actually needs its allies today more than it has ever done. These alliances were established after the Second World War when America was at its peak power. And that is when America was supporting its allies, was seeking to build this web of friendship. Today, America's relative economic weight in the world is declining, and the behavior is absolutely perverse. Now is a time when America needs its friends. And what America is actually doing, rather than rallying a coalition of friends to support America, including in, I would say, ensuring that China plays by the rules the rest of us play by, whether those are rules of territorial integrity or rules of trade. America could be rallying the free world to do that, but instead America is pushing its friends into the arms of China. It's really hard for me to understand why that is in the interests of the United States and of Americans.